Like, there's no concerns in my mind that this person will ever receive a higher seat than governor of Florida. Loser. The year is 2024, folks. Many are saying that there is a presidential election happening this year, and many of those people would be correct. There is, in fact, a presidential election happening in November of this year, and the stakes are high. They're very high. If you have not read Project 2025, which I haven't either, to be fair, but I've seen some interesting tidbits from there, such as they want to completely remove what they call gender ideology and critical race theory from schools. They also want to completely obliterate, while we're on the topic, the Department of Education. They just want to get rid of it, which would be really bad. I also saw that they wanted to, I mostly looked at the educational segment, but I also saw that they want to publicly fund religious institutions, okay? Religious educational institutions. So conservatives do not believe in like basic scientific research on trans people. They don't believe in like, they can't deny that slavery was a real thing that happened, right? But as far as it is, people such as Ron DeSantis, who coincidentally we'll be covering here, don't think that it was that bad, right? And perhaps maybe we should enslave Ron DeSantis and see how he likes it. Because clearly it was just a training program, right? It was just, for lulz and the giggles, to prepare those blacks, right? For the jobs program, right? A jobs program, exactly. It was a favor, really, at the end of the day, when you think about it, right? So Ron DeSantis, despite thinking those amazing, high-level, important ideas, decided to drop out because apparently those ideas weren't enough for his constituency. So let's take a look at I believe this is just his message about dropping out and endorsing Donald Trump, who has, I believe, said something about him that was very, I don't know, he's a Trump cuck now, is my point. Let's get started. Oh, also, I want to say for the YouTubers, which I already said for chat, lately I have not been covering politics. Sorry, I've not been covering electoral politics very much lately, and I want to start trying to change that because it is 2024, it is election time, and I do believe that we need to get the vote out for Biden. I know that it's really contentious to say that right now with everything going on with Palestine, I get it, but simply put, Trump is just 10,000 times worse, and he would dismantle the democracy if he gets in office. I truly do believe that. So that's why I'm going to start covering electoralism stuff more, just trying to see how it goes. You know what I mean? Just see how it goes. We'll still do the fun react stuff and whatever, but I just need, we need a little bit here and there as a treat. So without further ado, let's see what he's got to say. Let's see what our big sweaty, mal-dressed boy has to say.
Greetings from Florida.
Hello.
The warmth of being home is a reminder why I've chosen public service. From joining the United States Navy and serving in Iraq to representing the people in the U.S. Congress and now serving as governor of Florida. And it reminds me why I decided to run for president, to fight for those who have been forgotten in this country. This is America's time for choosing.
Who does he mean? You know who's been forgotten? Trans people. Not lately, I should say, but, they certainly haven't been forgotten lately. But if you want to use that term, they don't have any rights. So what people are we talking about here?
We can choose to allow a border invasion, or we can choose to stop it. We can choose reckless borrowing and spending, or we can choose to limit government and lower inflation. We can choose political indoctrination.
Limit government unless it comes to school, right? Oh, look, he's saying it right now. We can choose to political indoctrination. This is just government takeovers of schools that he's describing right after he said we need to reject government involvement. And also medicine, by the way. He doesn't like trans medicine.
Or we can choose classical education.
Classical education. Expand on that. I'd like to know.
These choices are symptoms of the underlying struggle to ensure that constitutional government can endure and that Western civilization can survive. And
he is like a middle schooler doing a presentation for class. You're absolutely correct.
Launched this campaign to bring accountability to government, regain sovereignty at our border, and restore sanity to our society.
This is all fascist rhetoric, by the way.
We cannot succeed as a country if we allow our nation to be invaded,
straight out of Hitler's
currency
playbook,
to be debased, our cities to crumble, and our kids to be indoctrinated. The DC elites who facilitated this mess do not care about you, and they do not work for you. They work for themselves. They seek to accumulate power at
yes, the elites, right? They have to keep it vague.
Your expense to pursue.
How many times has a leftist unironically said the word elites, okay? Really think about that. When we talk about people we don't like, we're specific. Conservatives have to keep it vague because they know that they're gesturing at some unknown uwu boogeyman. And when you like try to dig into that, they'll start getting into the Democrats, perhaps even the Jews, right? Or they won't say that if they're smart, but they'll, you know, they'll hint at it. They'll hint at it, right? It's a little JQing. But they'll never say that like Jeff Bezos needs to be taken down. They'll say George Soros, sure. They may even say that they don't like Jeff Bezos or that he, you know, but they'll never go after anybody for their money. Okay. They will never do that. They'll never say Jeff Bezos has too much money and he doesn't deserve it, or that even Bill Gates or George Soros has too much money and they don't deserve it. Their problem with George Soros, which the left has a problem with George Soros, which is that he's got too much money. The right's problem with George Soros is that they think he's a Jewish shill who's like injecting Western culture with trans ideology and whatever. Like that's their belief. My point is, leftists are very specific and conservatives have to keep it vague.
To an agenda that is harmful to the American people. Citizens do not serve politicians.
He acts like Biden supports open borders, even though Biden's continuing border construction. Yeah, so like Biden builds more U.S. border wall using Trump era funds. Yeah, so he's literally building more border wall. And then they turn around and they're like, he shouldn't do that. Like, what are you talking about? Like the conservatives didn't like him for this for some reason. I forget what the exact talking points were, but they did not respond well to him doing that. They just like sneered and called us all. They called Democrats like what's the word I'm looking for? Sorry, hypocrites. You know, they were like, look, you love it when Biden does it. It's like nobody's saying that they love it when Biden does it. Nobody's saying that. You're living in a fantasy land.
It is the duty of politicians to serve you. Talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words.
Oh yeah, no, he looks terrible.
Reversing the decline of this nation requires leadership that delivers big results for the people we are elected to serve.
He looks like what happens if an alien were to try to like mold a human. You know what I mean? Like, what are these lines here? Like, I know I don't want to go after his appearance too much, but like, I feel like there's some stuff that you can do. Like, he just looks weird. He looks very off-putting, you know?
I have a record of leading with conviction, championing an agenda
his soul's
marked
gone.
by bold
It's been
colors,
siphoned out of him.
delivering on my promises, and
not by his
defeating
wife
the
or anything.
people
I'm sure that's,
who are responsible for our
sailed.
nation's decline. That is the type of leadership we need for all of America. Now, over the past many months, Casey and I have traveled across the country to deliver a message of hope that decline is a choice and that we can, in fact, succeed again as a nation.
Who's Casey? I thought she only went by mommy.
Nobody worked harder, and we left it all out on the field. Now, following our second place finish in Iowa, we've prayed and deliberated on the way forward. If there was anything I could do to produce a favorable outcome, more campaign stops, more interviews, I would do it. But I can't ask our supporters to volunteer their time and donate their resources if we don't have a clear path to victory.
So just say that you gave up, man. Just say you lost. I couldn't possibly ask, yeah, sure, man. I'm sure that like you're just so honest and straightforward about this, right? I could never take money from my constituents without them expecting something in return. I could never do that. That's just, look, I'm Ron DeSantis, right? Like you guys have never known me to do that, right? Mother was a Pence thing? No. You guys are forgetting. Hold on. We got to pull it up. Or you never saw it. Ron DeSantis, mommy. He had a moment. He had a little gamer moment.
My mommy or my wife, and we have.
See, that's it. It's just a little funny thing.
Accordingly, I am today suspending my campaign. I'm proud to have delivered on 100% of my promises, and I will not stop now. It's clear to me that a majority of Republicans.
Wait, he's delivered on 100% of his promises? Ron DeSantis campaign promises. I mean, depending on how vague they were. Here, the DeSantometer. Promises kept, 33%. Not looking too good, man. We'll measure whether Governor Ron DeSantis is able to accomplish what he told voters and ultimately rate it. Each promise is kept, broken, or compromised. Wow. This is thorough. Address rising sea level challenges. Compromise. Ron DeSantis, wait, he said that he would address rising sea levels? Sounds like woke liberal bullshit to me. Quote, Ron DeSantis will work with local governments to prioritize sustainable growth and flood mitigation efforts and rising sea levels. So that was a compromise. They put him all the way up here? They're really like giving him a lot of credit for that. What has he done? From CNN, flanked by 2 oil rigs in West Texas, DeSantis vowed to withdraw the United States from global climate change. What? They're being so nice to him on this. How the fuck is this a compromise? What did he do? Florida's climate policy. Governor DeSantis in 2021 signed a bill into law, creating the Resilient Florida Trust Fund to support the Resilient Florida Grant Program and development of the statewide flooding and sea level rise. Okay, so there it is. That's what we're looking for. The Resilient Florida and Trust Fund. So he did take some steps to combat flooding, right? Like very specific. If I had to guess, it's all reactionary, right? It's like the flooding's already happened. And so now he has to go back and fix it because now you can't deny that flooding is going to happen because it happened. So now you have to go back and fix that shit. That's where the compromise comes in. I think that's being way too generous. 33% kept, 40% compromise. So 73% is what they're giving him. I think that's pretty generous, but it's certainly not 100%. So he's lying there.
Of my promises. And I will not stop now.
Even the people being generous to him are lying.
The majority of Republican primary voters want to give Donald Trump another chance. They watch his presidency get stymied by relentless resistance, and they see Democrats using lawfare this day to attack him.
Well, Lady Nova, that's the conservative playbook, is they'll deny, and then when it finally does happen, they have to say, well, who could have possibly seen this coming? Let's fix it, right? Kind of, sort of, with duct tape and paper clips, right? Don't put too much money into fixing it, even though now it's like super expensive to actually fix it when it would have cost a fraction of this amount just to prevent it from happening in the first place, right? But don't put too much money into it now. Just like give it a Band-Aid and a slap on the ass and say spit on it and good luck, champ. Good luck. Get back out there, champ. Get back out there. You're fine. Meanwhile, he's like running out with like his arm dangling behind him, like please, it hurts. Like, no, he's fine. Get him back out on the field. He's good. Like, that's their policy prescription.
Well, I've had disagreements
it's just
with
a flesh
Donald
wound,
Trump,
man.
such as on the
Get over it.
coronavirus pandemic and his elevation of Anthony Fauci. Trump is superior to the current incumbent.
Still trying to get digs in here. Dude, you have no clue how messaging works. In a charisma black hole, man. Not only are you dropping out of the race, which you did have a small fan base, okay? I don't want to take that from this guy, okay? Give him that. He had a very small, dedicated, very weird fan base, okay? Very weird, but they were there. And now he's dropping out. He's losing that fan base. He's trying to gain back some credibility, scrape it just in tears, just like gathering up what tiny little bits, shreds of credibility he has left. And what does he do? He drops it. He's like, F it. And he drops it. He's like, well, I mean, Trump did endorse Fauci. Remember that guy? I'm just saying he did endorse. You were never going to be president. I cannot believe I was ever scared of this guy. I feel really bad for all the Floridians living under him, and they have every reason to be scared of him. But as a country, you have no concern. Like, there's no concerns in my mind that this person will ever receive a higher seat than governor of Florida. Loser.
Joe Biden. That is clear. I signed a pledge to support the Republican nominee, and I will honor that pledge. He has my endorsement because we can't go back to the old Republican guard of yesteryear, a repackaged form of warmed-over corporatism that Nikki Haley represents.
I blame Bosch for causing the DeSantis panic. It was a real problem. We didn't know just how much of a charisma black hole he was. But when we thought that he had a chance, Ron DeSantis, for all of his gaffes, he is very smart. Okay, guys? Like, he's not smart enough to market himself properly. But when it comes to policies, specifically horrific policies that make people's lives worse, he might as well be a brain surgeon. Okay? He's very smart when it comes to that specifically. So it was a problem. Fortunately for us, he min-maxed that. And so he put nothing into his charisma points. And so now this happened. Got to drop out. And he's still taking L's while he's doing this.
The days of putting Americans last, of kowtowing to large corporations, of caving to woke ideology.
Let's dig into that a little bit. Kowtowing to large corporations. Like who? Go ahead. No, please go ahead. I would love to list some off and then talk about some solutions on how we can stop kowtowing to them, Ron. I would love to know.
Are over.
Of course, his answer would be Disney, and by kowtowing, he means letting them show gay people kissing when they show straight people kissing all the time anyway. Like, that's what he means by kowtowing, even though literally nobody cares.
I thank all of our passionate supporters who have stood by us through it all. That we had people volunteer to come to Iowa in the middle of a blizzard to knock on doors and make phone calls touched us dearly. No candidate had more.
Look at him trying to smile. He's like got one lip curled up and the other down. Is like he can't do it. He just can't do it. He can't.
Thrown at him, but
it's impossible.
No candidate had so many committed volunteers and staff. Finally, I want to thank my wife, Casey, and our kids, Madison, Mason, and Mamie. Casey's gone far above and beyond in her support for our campaign and for our cause. She's not only a great wife and mother, she's a great American who cares deeply about the future of the country that our kids will inherit. Our kids have seen and done
And I know that because when I had her tied to the radiator, I forced her to say it.
lot on the trail, from playing on the famed Field of Dreams baseball.
Oh, no, sorry. She must have, sorry, that's giving him too much credit. It's probably that he was tied to the radiator after begging her to do it, watching her fuck another man. And then that's when she said it. And that's when he climaxed.
In Iowa to making their first snowman in New Hampshire. They are one of the reasons we fight so hard for what we believe in. Winston Churchill once remarked that success is not final, failure is not fatal.
Oh, Mommy, you're such a good American, Mommy. Oh, Mommy, you're such a good American.
While this campaign has ended, the mission continues. Down here in Florida, we will continue to show the country how to lead. Thank you, and God bless.
Disgusting, man. What a reprehensible creature he is. I just don't know how anybody could endorse him or like him or anything. It really does. It's one of the mysteries of all time, I'll say that. As far as like how this will affect the election, it won't. I mean, everybody knew that Trump was going to be the front runner. Ron DeSantis, I think that he did want, like, they tried to put some stock into him before realizing that he is just a money sink, right? Like, any money that you throw at Ron DeSantis, you might as well just be burning it because he has zero chance against Trump. They even gave the guy training, is what I've heard, to act like Trump, and he just can't do it. He can't do it. And frankly, I think that trying to act like Trump is what's getting him in trouble, because if he would just try to act like a normal person, which he's not, so then again, that's impossible for him. But like, if he could just get that down, then maybe he would have a shot, right? I was scared that he would actually be like a normal functioning human being. But now that I see that he's not, it's, you know, I stopped fearing him a long time ago. As far as the Iowa caucus, as you can see here, we'll tack this on at the end. He did get second in the Iowa caucus, but not by, you know, Trump won by 51%. He had more than half the votes. Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley, and I think even if you throw Vivek in there, Vivek, right, sounds like cake, none of them could hold a candle to Donald Trump. Let's see, 21% plus 19% is about 40. Yeah, so Trump got more than all three of these guys combined. Oh wait, he has 51%. He got more than all the rest of them combined. What am I talking about? I can't math. He literally got more than all the rest of them combined. He has 51%. So like, yeah, of course it was always going to be Trump. Unless he like gets incarcerated, which at that point they're like, they have nothing left if he gets incarcerated or can't run for some other reason. So I'm keeping up my hopes for that, but ultimately, we are probably going to have to beat him fair and square in an election. So that being the case, I would encourage you guys to, you know, start paying attention to some of these numbers and seeing what's going on and convincing some of your friends to vote for John Brandon or whatever, because this is important. Like I said at the beginning of this video, Project 2025 is coming if you let Donald Trump take the election. And believe me, he has a chance. I still think that Biden's the front runner, but Trump does have a chance. People voting for Trump vote for Trump because they love him. People voting for Biden vote for Biden because they don't like Trump. They don't love Biden. There's a much more motivating factor for people to get out and vote for Trump, okay? The one saving grace is that Trump did tell his constituents, it was his constituents at the time, his supporters, I should say, not to vote by mail. And that was a huge shot in the foot that will affect him forever, you know, as far as his election chances go. So that's, you know, there are people on the right who are losing faith in the electoral process, a lot like there are some people on the left losing faith. You know, so I want the people who lose faith on the left to be far fewer than the people who lose faith on the right, because remember, guys, conservatives would not be trying to restrict voting rights if voting didn't do anything. If voting didn't do anything, conservatives would not be bending over backwards to gerrymander and keep people from being able to vote. It is very hard to rig a United States election. Very hard. And conservatives have done a very good job of it. So please, you know, I know that this was supposed to be around Ron DeSantis, but I can't stress this enough. Please, you know, get out and vote when, you know, comes September, and convince your friends to vote for Biden, because I can't do Trump. I can't do it. I will move out of the country. I will move out, probably. I don't know. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more, hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload. If you enjoy my content, you enjoy what I do, I really appreciate any financial help that I can get. Go to youtube.com/AlecGunterTTV/join. You got some awesome benefits, such as seeing early videos, awesome emotes that you can use in the comments of YouTube videos, and a sweet badge next to your name. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'd really appreciate if you join. It is cheaper than the cost of a blowjob from your mom. So with all that being said, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.